All right, so thank you so much for joining my live today. Uh, I'm going to be live simultaneously on YouTube and also on TikTok. Welcome everybody. This is going to be life changing and welcome to transformation. My name is Shea Ali for those who are joining for the first time, and if this is where we meet, yeah, I love to host you. So I love that you leave me likes and subscribes and then you follow this through. So I started a live where I started talking about maintaining sexual boundaries. So if you're on TikTok, I would want you to permit me to face my camera, which is YouTube. That's my priority now. I just want my TikTok audience to also have the advantage of joining me here to learn from you. And if you want a cleaner broadcast, you can come to YouTube. It's brighter and better than this, I would say. Thank you, Dr. Uzo. I can see you've joined. Thank you so much. So I don't know for how long you're gonna be here for. Now, I need to check with my yeah. Thank you so much. So that's me checking with my team to ensure this broadcast is not messed up right now. Yeah. So today I'm going to be talking about how past experiences hijack your present intimacy. Now, I've taken time to work on this note and to ensure that I'm able to present this to you as effective as possible because I see the many problems relationships, marital relationships, romantic relationships, whether or not it's gone into marriage, they are facing already. And many people really have these issues. Yes, many people really have these issues and I want to address this now. It is how past experiences can hijack your present intimacy. You know, many times you find that in your marriage or your romantic relationship, you're having serious flashbacks. You're having times that you remember the experiences you've had. Now, this happens across life experiences when you're talking about business, when you talk about some failures, when you talk about some emotional times, but then we'll be focusing more on the sexual intimacy and also the emotional experiences that we all have had at some point in our journey to have gotten here. So so when you have feelings or remember when somebody made you feel special, much more than necessary, your body has the archive of this much more than you can imagine. So as we go through in life, we understand that life has this different pictures that it fits your eyes, it fits your ears, it fits your mind. And as you continue going on, you discover that there are some of it you're able to remember, there are some you are not able to remember. And this is not, sometimes you choose what to remember, but many other times you do not choose what to remember because you can try to remember some things. It is, you just want to remember it, but you cannot remember. Some other times you're trying to remember some other things. You maybe sometimes you have control of some of the things you can remember, but most often than not, it is not your consciousness that really chooses what you remember and what you do not remember. Your brain automatically has a way of filtering through things and as a system it operates by in picking the information that is paramount to your survival, to your growth. And while some of it are quite not helpful because sometimes you have an experience, you want to remember what you went through, but you can't remember, and then you need it, but you just cannot remember. And you know, this happens when we study for exams and then we get to the exam hall, we study deliberately, we tried to remember this, but then you get to the exam and you try as much as you can, you still cannot remember what you studied even though you saw it many times. So there are many factors responsible for what our brain remembers, what our brain stores in the archive or in your data bank in the cells of your brain. Now I won't get into too much science about that. Now understanding that area, understanding this, I'm trying to just keep this mic, it's for the TikTok anyways, but I'm trying to not to wear it and just put it somewhere where it won't be a distraction. So when you understand that the way your brain files this information is not owing to your consciousness, then it calls to note that we have to be deliberate about, or we have to be informed about how we can keep ourselves safe, because Many of the memories and the experiences you've had, or some of the experiences and memories you've had, can end up being a threat or being the risk that might damage your marriage now, or your relationship in whatever way. So your archive, the brain archive, like I've just explained, does not only hold what happened in bed, the breakup, the heartbreaks, but it holds every moment that ever made you feel alive. And it doesn't check the date before it opens. So you don't have to say, I want to save this in my brain, I want to try and remember this. You should also know that there are things that you may have said, I will never forget this, but you forgot. There are times you made promises and say, oh, I really mean this, I'm not going to forget it, but you forgot because the other person is having to remind you, I thought you made this promise. And then you said, when, how did I say that, did I not say that? So there are many things that we say that we mean, but it does not mean automatically that your brain is going to file it and save it. So there are many factors responsible for what our brain keeps up there. Now I want you to follow me. Now, when you get married, I'll try to peep into my notes here because I have it so concise here. This is what nobody admits. Not many people admit that this happens to them. And when they look into the mirror, they have the experience, because you can love your partner completely. You can be faithful in every way that counts to your relationship and your marriage. And then you still catch your own mind pulling up, and it's trying to dig into your past, bringing things that you have tried to keep in the past. It's still trying to dig them out. You have tried to say, oh, I had this sexual intimacy with this lady at some point in my life, and then it's in the past. But your brain is still bringing the pictures up. It's still reminding you how it happened. Some of the times you try to remember what the nude words, or some words that can be vulgar, that someone has said to you at some point. You're trying to forget, but your brain is not forgetting. Your brain is not forgetting. It's just still pulling back down into that. Sometimes you're just alone at night, and you just see the thought just sweep into your mind that you thought you forgot. Sometimes you're with your partner, you're having a lovely time, and there's something that is triggered and brings about a memory you normally would not want to, you don't appreciate. Now, nobody is touching anybody, nothing physical happened, but something is really, really happening inside of your head, inside of your mind. And then we have to start paying attention to how we can take charge of the archive that the brain keeps of the sexual moments, sexual experiences, the emotional memories that your brain has kept, and then is a threat to your marriage now. Because how you find this play out is sometimes while in the process of a sexual intimacy with your partner, you may find your mind is drifting into the past to somebody that you've had another sexual intimacy with. What I'm trying to say is this. So I'll tell you a story. One of my mentees, I remember he had this sexual experience, and I'll cut that part. And then he was having another sexual experience with someone else, not that he wanted it, not that he desired it. And I remember telling him, the reason why I would not support or have you keep having multiple sexual experiences with different people, whether or not it's a mistake, whether or not you didn't want it, or it wasn't deliberate, or you just didn't know it happened, or it's just a distraction, whether or not it was a distraction, you understand that the more experiences you have, the more memories your brain keeps in your brain, and your brain is going to start replaying them to you when you don't need them. So I would recommend, and I do recommend to everybody, it is better to not have multiple sexual experiences or multiple unnecessarily emotional experiences with different people that you would not want to settle with. Now I remember telling this guy, I said, what will happen is if you have sexual experience with this person and you move on to this other person, you will discover that sometimes meeting with this person, the flashbacks of the moments and the experiences you've had with the previous person might be messing up with your mind, with your head. And he said, oh yes, that he's been experiencing that now. Many people across culture, we all have our brain, we all have our mind. We experience these things. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to talk about the problems, and I'm going to hand you the solution, because this is meant to help you to be self-aware and then run you through the course of you being delivered from every of the experiences you may have gone through, or this mind flashing moments that you have that is, taking you, making you deviate from your marriage. So I would love you to leave me likes and subscribes. I would also love you to follow my page if you want to see more of this. Now, like I've said, your archive your archive doesn't only hold what happened in bed, it holds every moment that ever made you feel fully alive. Now, it doesn't ask you for the date, it's going to file the moment or the experience in your brain. It just goes ahead and makes them happen, sticks them in your brain. So, how does this archive gets built? How do you build this archive of memories that ends up messing up with your brain, with your mind while you're married, and in the future you're remembering how you touched this person, what this other guy said? Because let me also say this: when you are married, or for some people it happens that if there was a particular word a guy had said to you in the past that gets you to be to be sexually aroused, now if later you hear those kind of words, whether or not the intent is to get you aroused, it might bring that memory, it might dig it up. And the brain can be quite it's in your head, it's not outside, it's not bringing it and presenting it to you, it's doing it just right in your brain, and it just speaks of you're seeing it, and then it is triggering the experience, the actual experience in your body. You are feeling it. So because that happens, it makes it difficult. Sometimes you find that because your partner is drifting away, it's busy, or say your sexual life as a couple now is not as good as you have wanted it. Let me also say this for the guys. Say you have a high libido or a moderate libido, and your partner is not there to satisfy you. If you've had multiple experiences in the past, it's going to flash back and mess up with your brain. And the times that your partner is not there, I don't know if it happens across all culture, but there's this: is it food? Is sex food? People talk about that a lot, and it can be quite funny when I listen to people talking about that as well. Is it food? Yeah. So say your partner is saying that he is telling you, is it food? I'm tired, I just can't do this now. And then your brain goes back to pick the experience, the sexual experience you've had with one lady in the past, and it starts making you feel good. You start playing it in your brain to make up for the now. Now, that is going to go, and this same thing has led people into pornography, because they've watched pornography in the past. Now they can't meet their sexual needs, and then it starts flashing back in their brain, and they start looking for how to meet up with that sexual drive or the sexual desire. So when you understand this, you become self-aware to understand the tricks that your brain is playing on you. And as I continue to hand you the solution, so how does your brain build the archive of these memories that is detrimental to your future? How does your brain build this? The first you have to understand is that your brain files information in the archive. It saves information, archives information, memories by intensity, not by category. Your brain does not, like I have this shelf behind me here. Oh, the TikTok people cannot see it. I have this bookshelf behind me here. I've filed it back. This is where my Bibles are. This is where this self-developmental books on psychology. This is where I put them. This is where these other books are on church theology and the likes, or church history and the likes. Your brain does not do that. Your brain does not file memories by category. It dumps them. It files them by intensity. There's just a category called archive. Like I said, your brain does not need permission to save history, to save what's it called now? It does not need your permission to save memories. And many times you don't get to choose what you remember. Pay attention to that. Many times you don't get to choose what you remember. So these are the systemic automatic ways for your brain to build archive. It remembers by intensity, not by category. Whatever happened, say the first heartbreak you had, the first time somebody looked at you and said, oh, I believe in your dreams, and nobody has ever said that up to that time, or has ever really said it and meant it. But that time, by the time you're hearing it, your brain sees it as a spectacular moment and saves it. and saves it. So when you understand this, you know that, oh, then it means I have to be careful of the kind of memories and experiences that I create for myself, because my brain might remember this and I might not get to choose what to delete. I have my controller here. I could just go to my recycle or go to any file, delete, and go to the recycle and delete. While we can say it is still somewhere in the system, there are ways to get rid of them in the long run that you will not be able to recover the files. But the brain does not necessarily work like that, and this many times can result in people having post-traumatic syndrome disorder, PTSD. I think I got that right. So the second is, first experiences of any kind cut deeper than later ones. You have to understand that the first of anything, whether or not it's the first child, the first president, the first this, the first of anything, if you say the first nation in the world, the best nation in the world, the worst nation in the world, the first of everything cuts deeper, stamps deeper, is stronger to remember than any other repetition that comes after. Now, if I'm going to remember, oh, the first person who propagated Christianity, you can remember easily, but the people in the middle of it can be lost to history or to times or to into the books. So whatever comes first is easy to remember. Your brain archives and saves memory when it has this first. So your brain will remember your first heartbreak easily, much more than your second or third heartbreak. And depending also, like I first said, depending also on the intensity, measured against the intensity. So your brain will categorize experiences and practices by whether or not it is first or second or third, or by the first. So you also understand that what is being repeated might be lost through time, might be lost through every other thing. The first job you got, the first phone you used might be easy to remember much more than the ones you used down the line. And that's the bias of the first. The bias of the first that affects that happens to the brain, I would say. The third way that the brain builds an archive of memories that may end up, so memories can be good or bad, but some of the memories are the ones that you don't know why you are remembering them. You don't know why they're still stuck in your brain. You don't know why these pictures still play in your head sometimes. Maybe the pictures of anger or hate, or you detest somebody, or the mistake you made could also be, like we are focusing on today, because we're talking about maintaining sexual boundaries, could also be the times that touched your neighbor when you should not have, touched your neighbor intimately or sexually, or your friend or your colleague you talked into the night, how it made you feel. Those kind of experiences could end up ruining the future, because they will create memories. Your brain will file them, and they will replay later in your future when you don't need them to replay, when they will distract you and lead you into making destructive moves as you continue in life. The third year is usually when you have a physical experience with somebody, say your husband. I would love to say husband and wife, or people in courtship, because I do not believe we should be dating for friends with benefits and the likes. And that is part of why I'm talking about this, so you understand that the experiences you create with these people, I remember speaking with a guy who was trying to defend that you can have multiple experiences with different people. How multiple sexual experiences? How would you know the one you would eventually settle with? I know this is a debate across many industries, whether in the public speaking or in religion and the likes. You have to understand that, which is my take and my point is, the more experiences you create with different people, the more memories and pictures you accumulate for yourself. And then when you eventually settle with somebody, you eventually settle with a lady or with a man, these pictures are going to come to play. See, they touch you a kind of way that you need more, it's going to play. Or there's a way the other person would touch you that this other person would not touch you anymore. It would come to play. And usually, when you're tired, there's distance, there's a wrong situation like disconnection or stress and many other bits that ends up in marriages in different times, you find that these pictures take over to make you feel better at the moment, but ends up taking your whole mind off the course and bringing say there's a hole or there's a gap in your marriage. It widens it, and then it can end up messing up your life big time. So, and this ends up being the preliminary stages to fornication, to adultery, and the many atrocities you find, unfaithfulness in many homes that you find now. So, long-term intimacy is a good trade because you get safety, familiarity, because this person really knows you. But under the wrong conditions, disconnection, stress, feeling unseen, your mind will not just go for the memories you've had with your husband. If now your husband has drifted away from you, he's been busy for the longest time, and he's not very available, and you need him, or she's not in that space at the moment, you can't have that experience or what you want from her at the moment. Your brain is not going to go to, "Oh, we have this sexual intimacy all the time," and then you keep playing the one you had last year, last month. It's not going to do that. Your brain would go as far as digging into the past. Now, it's safer and easier if you don't have this kind of pasts. It's easier to, or you have limited versions, or the ones you have control over. It's easier to get rid of them, to say nah, 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 nah. But it becomes a little, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm going to tell Andy the solution to this, but it becomes a little more challenging if it is presenting you with too many of variety of history and information of sexual intimacy to cushion your experience in the minute with your partner. Now, number 4, when your brain saves the past, saves memories, it does not ask you for consent. I believe I've touched on that. It does not. And there are many triggers that makes it that there's this trigger, like a hook that you can throw, like a fishing hook you throw into the waters, and you definitely know this past they are there, and it brings the right ones up. Like, you don't have to struggle, it brings the right one up as fast as you want it. So the archive doesn't care if the memory was physical or emotional. It only cares that it mattered once. So long as that experience mattered to you, so long as it was your first sexual experience, your first time you kissed, the first time you did this, the first time you did that, the first heartbreak, it's easier for your brain to bring it out because of the notion of the first, and also weighing it against intensity, how intense it was. Like I also said, your brain does not categorize memories. It stores them as much as the moment your brain cares about it, your brain stores them. It saves them into the archive. Now, what are the triggers you have to be aware of? There are loads of triggers. That really brings, because sometimes you have these old memories, they are there. Sometimes you think they are lost and they're not just going to come back. They're not just going to come up. But there are triggers that the moment they happen, the moment it's put into play, it fetches this old memory and plays it in your head as much as you want. And sometimes it can also be like a thread. The moment you have the memory flash in your brain, you start pulling it like a thread, it starts unveiling. So to give you an example, if you had a sexual experience with a lady in the past, and then now, because your wife is not available to you, then your wife is not available to you, then you remember that, oh, this lady used to be available to you, or this person used to be available to you. What happens is your brain starts with a picture of the moment when that lady was available to you and you talk into the night. And then what your brain continues to do is to play the whole picture of how you talk into the night, the moment it takes, how long it is, and your brain keeps on digging into what you will talk about. The kind of conversation, how it got dirty, how it got into sexual intimacy before you met, and then how it happened. And that's why it's quite crucial for people like us. Even though we have audience, come around, people want your time, they want to tell you about how they are struggling with this sexual pictures in their head, and it's been in the past, it's messing up with their marriage, they can't stay committed to their partner, they don't even love their partner anymore as much because they are lost in the past. So for people like us, we don't ask you to Even the what works is that we tell you to relay or to replay the experience, how it runs in your brain. But when it comes to sexual experiences, I wouldn't know if some coaches do this, but coaches who want to be safe will not tell you, can you run me through how exactly it happened or how exactly it happens in your brain? No, we may look into the frameworks of it, but not into the details of, tell me who went first, who touched first, who met first, who did. Nah, because that is the easiest way for the coach or the trainer to get into trouble. And I hope you understand that. I hope you understand that. So there are loads of stress. I'll be touching on four major ones today, talking about when these pictures show up and why they show up. The first trigger I have here is when your partner is missing, either physically or emotionally. Usually, when your partner is not available, and sometimes your partner could be available physically but not emotionally, then it just looks like you have a neighbor in the flat, or you have a neighbor in the house, or you have a neighbor in the street. You don't feel this level of connection. And whether or not you like it, as humans, whether or not you are a man or a woman, we are emotional beings, and we are meant to spend our emotions on people, on things as well, but much more on people that can reciprocate or reciprocate the emotional strength or energy in any other way. So when your partner is not emotionally available, your body is going to start looking for how to cushion or how to make up for this absence. And it also works that if you've had people, if you've ever loved anybody, the desire to love will always keep coming. I was speaking with a lady who is separated from the partner now, and one of the things she said to me was, "Oh, like I really want to be loved. I really want to. I really have. I want to love somebody. I want to love somebody, even though that's just for you to know. If you have experienced love, if you have given out love and then it stopped, there will always be the need, whether or not people suppress it, whether or not they still have it, is not does not exclude or escape the fact that they still have that part of them that wants to be loved in that kind of a way. So whether or not your partner is available physically or emotionally, a gap opens and the mind goes somewhere, travels around to fill that space. And when you look for sexual memory, emotional memory, whichever one is closest is the one your brain brings. And and it has nothing with doing with my intent for going into the past, or the intent for my brain going into the past is to bring my ex back into my life. It doesn't have to be that, but it can be that your brain, because I would say this again, your brain wants you to be safe. The first priority of the brain, not you as the human, every human being's brain, it's more like your brain functions on another system different from your mind. So the first priority of the brain is to keep you safe. So the moment you start feeling emotionally bankrupt, your brain looks for things to cushion, to help you so you don't suffer. Your brain brings pictures of the past, how you felt loved, brings pictures of the times that you had that sexual experience, and it amounted to love. If you see sexual experience as love, your brain tries to bring pictures and memories of things that could cushion for the now. And that is why, as a partner, as a spouse in any marriage, you have to ensure you are emotionally available to your partner. And if you know you are, and the other party as well, you should learn to help your partner be available to you, because many times we have to be factual about this. Many times you can drift. Your job or your work can be so demanding that it's not affording you the availability to be present with your partner. And that is why we understand emotional availability is as good, is as awesome, is as important, as crucial as physical availability. So your brain goes into the past, brings memories. So you're having a sexual intimacy with your wife is now looks, I would say, looks boring, because even if it is not boring, the human brain naturally wants to loves varieties. I would say you should know that if you don't know that before. The human brain loves varieties. That's why when you have a shoe, you have a car, or let's say you can change shoes, you can have multiple shoes now. Oh, I'm sorry, I would love to co-host on TikTok, but at the moment I'm not. I'm really sorry. I wanted to do that, but maybe I'll take some more time, and I'm looking into taking time to be able to bring people up to talk about topics like this. So, I was going to talk about. I was talking about the trigger number two. Oh, number one, your partner is missing physically or emotionally. So talking about being emotionally present. So I'll move to number two is your partner might be right with you on the same bed. Your partner might be right with you on the same sofa, and your mind is traveling to the next world. Let me not take the next word now. Your mind is traveling to the past to bring the times that your ex-boyfriend or whatever the boy or ex-girlfriend would hold you that kind of way. So the brain also tries to massage you, cushion you by going into the past and playing you pictures of the moment. So and I just really I really feel for people who are trapped in this kind of experience. I really feel for people who are trapped in this kind of experience. So your partner could, we talked about the first one, your partner may not be available, but this acknowledges that your partner might be present with you, but then your brain still reaches into the past to try to bring the experiences you've had, the memories you've had, the way the other guy or the other lady was spinning you over the bed. And it can be really weird because those kind of experiences will take you away from your partner at the moment. Those kind of experiences will take you away from your partner, and it would not would not make it effective to have a joyful home or to have a sustainable marriage if you keep going back into those kind of memories. Now, the trigger number three is when stress turns the intimacy in your home, whether it's physical or emotional intimacy, into a test. And this kind of test, most people fail it. So we talk about performance pressure, body image, or an argument that you have with your partner that has not been resolved. And then it creates this kind of gap that before you think about it, your memory is your brain is already looking into the past for safety. So now, it happens in many homes when you try to lock up, you don't want to speak with your partner, you try to just shut up, you are in the home, the other partner is in the home as well, he's doing his thing, you're doing your thing, or she's doing her thing, you're doing your thing. You say, I won't talk to her. But at that moment, because you are a man or a woman who needs love, your brain will start reaching out to friends, because this space is normally filled by your partner, and now she's not there. So your brain starts looking into memories that you've had and start using that as presenting to you as a present cushion effect or a present solution for you to enjoy yourself in. And if you are not careful, you're just going to, if you're not careful, you're just going to keep enjoying it. The moments that you touched or you hold the woman one kind of a way, the you went out together, you will start fantasizing way more than the experiences that you've had, or recreating it as well. I would love that you leave me likes on TikTok if you're following this and if it is helping you. So the trigger number 4 is, and this is quite crucial that I talk about it, because most of those I've spoken with fall in this category, when something from your past was never actually closed. So say if at some point in your life you had this girlfriend that you were making out, or you were planning to make out with each other, and then at some point you were getting into sexual intimacy, but for one reason or the other, somebody came around and you were not able to successfully pull the project through. I'm sorry I called it project, but it's a project in a way. Sorry, I'm gonna have to do this. So I was saying that I would love to talk about it because most of those I've had to counsel in this regard fall in this category. So when you wanted to have a sexual intimacy experience with somebody, with a lady, and then you've entered the room, you were taking off your clothes, you were going to get into the deal, and then somebody knocks and the whole matter scattered, and you were already in that eye up space where you thought, oh, things are going to go down today. You know, that kind of experience where your body has experienced this even before you even gone into it. Now, when you get married, and then there's this moment you have, this free moment you have, your mind is trying to explore, it can bring back those old memories and try to complete the story. I hope that makes sense. Your brain can go back into the past and those kind of sexual experiences you didn't pull through, you didn't finish, or that maybe you even finished the project, you've had multiple experiences with people, or you were still looking for so much more or some more with some other new persons or with the same people, or even if, say, you were fantasizing with this lady and say, oh, I'm going to take you up there, I'm going to hang your leg this way, we're going to try this position, and you were not eventually able to try out that position, it's going to keep playing on in your head. Your brain is going to try to make sense of the matter, like trying to use the experience you have with that person and reposition it and recreate it in light of the experience you never fully completed, which is a deadly way to live because it is using your brain power, your creativity, energy to recreate an experience that is a threat and a risk to your marriage. So I want you to know that what shows up in your head, whether it is a memory of torture or it is an emotional experience that was really tantamount to or peculiar to you in the past, it is not a verdict on the future of your marriage, whether or not you enjoyed it or it was disastrous. Memories that you've had that your brain has filed and saved without your consent is not uh, does not hold the last verdict or does not hold the final verdict on the success of your marriage. So, where do we pay attention? What do we need to know? Everyone, I won't say everyone, most people or many people you find out there have pictures going on in their heads, flashback going on in their head that they are trying to find a way to suppress, to keep down. Now, I did not say everybody. I did not say everybody. And while some do not have it so intense, some could handle it, some could take over it. Not many people can suppress it or keep it under control like many other people have. So, and sometimes before you pick your phone to say I want to fornicate, it starts with these pictures flashing in your head, knowing that there's still the possibility of you messaging your ex and you can still reply your message. And it is also one of the reasons why I recommend that if you have exes, especially if there are exes that you've had sexual experiences with, it is crucial and important that you keep them far away from you. You don't say that we are just friends now, things are cool between us. It is important that you try to keep them as far away from you as possible. If it is achievable for you, if you can work it out, keep them as far away from you as possible. So, whilst many people have this kind of flashes, it comes, you're holding your partner in a kind of way, and then you remember that, oh, your ex used to hold you that kind of way, or you're holding your smooching your partner in a kind of way, and your brain brings pictures of that from the past, or now that your partner is not so much as available, your brain is looking for memories, the times that you enjoyed yourself with your old partner, you had those moments with your ex or with the people in the past. Your brain is trying to bring it. It is not outrightly a sin or evil or makes you a wrong or a bad person. What the problem is if you further the flashbacks and keep recreating them, or you start feeling safe, or you start using them to cushion you as a cushion effect for you at the moment. Sorry. If it acts as a cushion effect for you at the moment, that is where it becomes tricky and it becomes difficult to control, or it becomes detrimental and risky to your marriage. Now, what actually helps? I have here 6 points that I believe is going to transform you immensely. The first of which is that you separate the memory, the sexual emotion from you separate it from the meaning you hand it. If you hand those kind of experiences the meaning that, oh, it means that I can look into you and then find safety. It means that that I'm safe when I'm able to think about this, then the problem starts compounding. But the moment you know and understand that this does not mean, the moment you understand that this means that there's a problem, this means that these memories I'm having in the past is not going to be helpful for me, for my marriage, then you can begin separating it and start standing against it and not standing for it. I hope that makes sense to you. The second is very crucial. It's important that you track. It's important that you track when it shows up instead of racing to shut it down. So before you start struggling with why is this picture in my brain, why is this picture in my head, the first is that you try to examine yourself. Why is this picture coming into my brain? Is it because I've not had sexual intimacy with my partner for a while? Is it because there's a colleague available to talk to or to speak with in this kind of way at the moment? Is it because this? Is it because that? You need to ask these questions. And as I'm propounding these solutions, if you are not the type, if you are the type who you just say, no, I'm going to listen to these solutions and then it's going to help me without you actually doing them, then it's not going to profit you. It's not going to help you in any way. It's not going to help you in any way. So what I'm saying is you have to take the action by implementing these solutions if you really want to save your home. And then it's important that you did, because saving your home is crucial. And if it means anything to you and you're not trying to just enjoy the past that you've wanted, you are not just trying to hide behind the past that you enjoy, then it is worth doing. So you track when the memories happen, when they flash in your head, when they try to take over your brain, and then before you shut it, you track it and then you analyze it to understand if it is after a fight, if it is after you, if it is when you're stressed, if it is when your partner is not emotionally available, and then you're able to work your way around it to give you the best solution you would have wanted. Now, the number 3 is that you feed the relationship, so your marital relationship now or your romantic relationship, you feed it with the newness your mind keeps chasing elsewhere. So if there is, let's say, a kind of sexual intimacy position you were not able to pull through when you were in the past, discuss with your partner, can we try this out? And not keep doing that in the past in your head, messing up with your head, and then it leads you into pornography or leads you into speaking with people who are vulnerable around you, and then you start replicating some sexual immorality. You start having people start having secrets you're hiding. You could just bring the newness of the things your brain is trying to look for in the past, bring it to the now, and try to play it out and experience it with your partner. I know that has helped you. Number 4, say the hard sentence out loud. Now, these assessments are things that when you pay to consult a coach or a therapist, they are assessments that will run you through. And that's why when you're coming on this live and you've seen it for free, you might trivialize the exercise until you have to pay for it. People who have their marriages at the verge of crumbling understand what we're talking about here. So say the hard sentence out loud, say it gently. So it's not like you're trying to confess, you're just trying to be honest. And this is why it is quite crucial that you have a partner you can speak to. You have a matured, intelligent partner, because what I've just recommended here, which is that you say the hard sentence out loud, cannot be done in every home. So say somebody comes to tell you, oh, I notice I drift sometimes when we are together on the couch. If you're saying that to a wife who is not emotionally secured, who is not emotionally matured, it's going to so what you're trying to save is not going to be safe, and it's not going to be saved in the long run, because it's going to spiral into another kind of disaster. But when you have a matured, and that's why it's quite crucial that you get married to a reasonable, matured partner, a partner you can open up to without being ashamed. Because the reason why you're opening yourself up to this person in the first place is that I'm opening up to you. I'm saying that I drift somewhere that I don't want to be. My mind travels around and remembers the past I had with Sophia, with so and so person. I'm trying to tell you this because I want you to know that I need help, and I want you to know that I don't want this to happen. I love you. I cherish and I value our relationship. I'm just looking for a solution around it. But some other partners who cannot handle situations rightly, they will mess it up. So you read the room, you know your partner, and you try to be vulnerable. Don't also assume that your partner will not accommodate you if and when you know you have the problem. So, but it's easier when your partner is a listening partner. You can just open up and say, "This is what is happening with me. I want to share it with you," and that's just it. So, number five is that you close what was never actually closed. And whatever kind of memory it is, whether it's emotional or sexual, like I explained, that sometimes your mind is reaching out to an experience you had that you didn't put through or you didn't complete, or looking into the information, the data you have in your brain, and it's trying to recreate the possible ending of those stories and scenarios. Then what you understand is that you just try to close that what's it called, close that experience, whether or not it's through a therapist. Because if the easiest way is to speak with somebody, whether or not it's your partner or a therapist or a professional, I would say. Because if you're trying to recreate experiences that you didn't complete in your head, you might have to discuss it with somebody, not just trying to say, I'll close this in my head. You will not close it in your head because every other picture is in your head. But when you meet with a therapist, we're able to run you through, or a coach, we're able to run you through, oh, why not do it this way? Then now that you've seen this, we'll ask you questions that would help you find a way around it. Not you trying to find a way around it without knowing what you're looking for, because your brain will keep you in the loop of that experience. Now, number six is my admonition to people, to everybody that I meet, to my mentees, to my community, is that you have to be aware and you have to caution what gets into your head, what gets into your mind, and the kind of experiences you are having. Don't have sexual experiences when you can avoid it. You have to stay. I believe in the traditional understanding of chastity. You have to stay chaste, not the kind of atmosphere people are creating now, where you want to have sexual intimacy with anybody you meet on the street, or with your neighbor, or with your, sometimes, people around you, people that close to you, with your friends. You don't have to be that loose. You still have to maintain the level of chastity that our traditionals, that the traditional community believes in. And by this, you are able to limit the amount of sexual memories you're saving, your brain is archiving. And by that, you are able to truncate or reduce the possibility of you having flashes, having your brain suggest the past to you, in order to help you save the moment. So we all cannot stop our mind from remembering things, but we can channel what we remember to the right thing. We can choose our response, rather, to act right when we remember anything, whether or not it's you in bed with another lady that's been in your past. You can choose to say, no, I'm not having this. This is not going to play up in my head. And then you find a way to speak with your partner about it. I'm still an advocate of you having a partner you can talk to morning, noon, night, whether or not they are listening. Because sometimes women complain and say, oh, I talk to my husband, it doesn't listen. Well, yeah, if he still hears, let's say we give him a level of, well, if he still hears, we give him a level of, a level of credit. So to round this up, I'll say your marriage normally is not out there to be threatened by the fact that you have pictures that you remember, or that you remember, or that is stored in your brain, or that is flash in your head sometimes. It's not going to be by that. It's not going to be by that. Sorry. It's not going to be by that. It's not going to be threatened, or your marriage being put out in jeopardy because of that. But The problem is when your response to that experience is accommodating. You start ruminating on that sexual experience, on that emotional experience, to the detriment of your marriage at the moment. Now, I believe this has equipped you, running through it, I believe it has equipped you to understand why people have sexual experiences, why it flashes through their brain, through their head while they are still married now, while they are with their husband on the bed and their brain is trying to pick a memory from the past, and what you can do or you have to do as regards that. Now, if you want to watch a replay of this, if you're on TikTok, I want you to follow me on YouTube. It's questions left unanswered. On TikTok, it's where Sheyali, because we have our products page on TikTok, and you should check up, which you should check our products as well. And then you can follow me on Facebook, the Sheyi Aliu, Facebook, the Sheyi Aliu. We're also live streaming on YouTube and Facebook at the moment. You should subscribe to my Facebook and my YouTube, because it will afford you a better and cleaner interface, and not this kind of camera. Thank you so much for joining. Commend everybody who has stayed through till the end, and I would love you to keep in touch. As you follow me, click the subscribe and turn on the notification button, so when I come online, you get to learn from what I have to share at all times. Thank you for being transformed today, and have a wonderful, wonderful time.